I'm Nema Etheridge, and I interviewed Barbara Hudson, a 25-year HR industry professional who currently works as an associate relations manager for the clothing brand Saks Off Fifth, a sister brand to the popular department store Saks Fifth Avenue. Prior to starting with Saks Off Fifth, Barbara worked for 18 years with the Home Depot Corporation, where she last served as senior HR manager prior to leaving the company in January 2020. Barbara started her career in HR with a background in criminal justice, and she took on an administrative role with the temporary staffing company Kelly Services, which launched her career in HR. After about 10 years working in HR and already employed with the Home Depot, Barbara pursued her bachelor's degree in HR. This summer, she anticipates sitting for the Senior Professional in Human Resources exam, which would award her an industry-respected certificate to add to her many years of HR background. Barbara left the Home Depot in January 2020 to pursue her dream of opening a boutique shoe store in Atlanta. However, the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic drew Barbara back into the HR industry, and she began consulting for small businesses across the United States until she recently got her full-time job with Saks Off Fifth. As an associate relations manager with Saks Off Fifth, Barbara works remotely, but she deals with complicated issues of workplace violence, performance management, and harassment claims that involve company employees at store floors and distribution centers in the United States and Canada. She regularly interviews these employees to see if they understand company policy, whether they violated company policy, and recommend a next course of action for the company. Barbara's breadth of knowledge in the HR industry really afforded me some valuable lessons during our interview process. Firstly, I learned that HR professionals can be either generalists or specialists. When Barbara was a senior HR manager at the Home Depot, she explained that she was more of a generalist, understanding many aspects of HR, but allowing HR specialists to delve into deeper topics like recruiting or disciplining and terminating employees. Now, in her role at Saks Off Fifth, she is much more specialized, dealing with employees' specific interactions with company policy. The second thing I learned from Ms. Hudson was that when HR has a seat at the leadership table, companies operate better. Drawing on multiple experiences, Barbara explained that implementing a new program at a company was much easier when HR was involved at the beginning and at the leadership table. HR would help a company be more proactive in understanding potential roadblocks and also working to get employee buy-in early on. Ultimately, these new programs would be much more engaged with the employees and with the customers. They were what she called a more engaged end product. And the company would save time and money implementing the new program because of HR's help. Another thing I learned from Ms. Hudson is that the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic and the social and political energy we've experienced over the last 3 years have created seismic shifts in the HR landscape. Leaders are asking themselves questions that they've never had to before, like how do we teach, coach, and train remote workers? How do we modify our employee assistance programs so that we can deal with the psychological issues many people are facing at home? And how do we keep remote workers from burning out? Furthermore, she shared her opinion that the state laws that govern employer and employee relations will increasingly start to look like those of California, where employees are much better versed in employee labor laws, and it can be a little bit more difficult for employers to operate. She cited a recent law passed in Maine in which employers are now required to pay departing employees for unused vacation time, whereas previously, and in states like Georgia, unused vacation time is lost to the employee. This shift in employee workplace expectations will also cascade into state laws in the future, and it makes understanding HR all the more important. She believes leaders who understand HR will be unstoppable. My interview with her was very informative, and I appreciate her time for letting me understand HR better. Thanks.